On today's episode of I Dey Bake Wetin No Good, I am going to teach you how I made these sumptuous cookies that will melt in your mouth. I used 250 grams of margarine for this recipe and 1 cup of icing sugar. If you have granulated sugar, please go ahead. I know you all don't believe that I have gotten to this level. Well, practice makes perfect. I saw this recipe on somebody's page and I thought to recreate it. So here was me creaming the margarine and the icing sugar. Initially, it wasn't easy, but with time, it began to cream. I added a little quantity of cooking oil, just like the person I'm recreating her recipe did. I creamed it till I got this consistency and the color changed from yellow to white. The recipe required powdered milk, so I added the little powdered milk that I had at home. Let's just say half cup of powdered milk. Please feel free to use any milk of your choice. At this point, I started adding in my already sifted flour bit by bit. This recipe requires 4 cups of flour, but I started out with 3 cups of flour to know what the consistency would be like. And of course, I wanted a very delicious and soft cookies. These days, once I see any recipe online, I will immediately want to recreate it. You need to see how many videos I've saved that I want to recreate. I am now even scared of my own drive. Like, how have I gotten this far? Just by watching these things online and trying them out. I can still remember my first ever bread recipe. Although I don't even want to remember that day because I saw Shege Banza. At this point, I added extra half cup of flour because it didn't give me the consistency that I wanted. So instead of 4 cups, I used 3.5 cups of flour. At this point, we have gotten a smooth dough. I popped it on my baking paper. I flattened the dough with my pan before covering it with the second baking paper. I used my rolling pin to roll out the dough, just the way you saw me doing in this video. I rolled it for some time, then opened it to cut out the rough edges. After cutting out the edges, I noticed that the dough was too thick. I had to cover it again and started rolling. Here is the trick. For you to get the desired biscuit shape, you do not need a very thick or a very thin dough. You need the dough to be very moderate. So here I brought out my cookies cutters with different shapes and started cutting. You can buy this cutter in any baking shop for as low as 1,500 or 2,000 naira. And don't worry if you do not have a cookies cutter. You can use any plastic at home, maybe with a or square shape, or you can use all those tiny salad plates at home to cut your cookies into your desired shape. And if you do not have any of this, don't worry, make use of your knife. Cut with your knife and you decorate with your fork, just like I did in this video in the third batch. This is what I am talking about. I am sure this is the normal shape of the shortbread that everybody knows. After cutting into my desired shape, I popped that into the oven, and a few minutes later, almost this is started burning. I didn't know that cookies doesn't take time to get baked. Just like other pastries, your cookies do not need to get brown. Once it is brown, it means it is burning. But not to worry, this one came out absolutely delicious and yummy, as you can see. For more recipes, follow me for no reason.